Hello everyone and welcome to Forever Rugby and Forever Sports and some breaking news. Although not official, it has been reported that apparently the Springboks are set to withdraw from the 2020 Rugby Championship, meaning that there will be no Springbok Rugby this year. But before we go any further, please make sure if you enjoy this type of content to hit the like button. Also, please do consider subscribing. We're just 4 away from 100, trying to hit 100 for the weekend, and I really do appreciate the support. So hit the subscribe button there, bottom right-hand corner, and become part of the channel. Right, so let's get into it. What I must stress is that there has been no official communication from any parties as of yet, but a report by the New Zealand Herald today stated that South Africa is expected to pull out of the Rugby Championship as a result of just they having not played enough rugby. And this has been sort of a decision which was postponed earlier this week, with South Africa apparently talking to the Department of Sport and Recreation and sort of engaging with other parties to find out about the feasibility of actually going and playing in the Rugby Championship before making the final decision. But now it seems that the decision has been made, and that the decision is that the Springboks will not travel and will not play in the Rugby Championship, which will be quite upsetting as a Springbok fan, simply because it means that we will have gone an entire year without any Springbok rugby, which is quite a big thing when you think that a year ago we were celebrating, us winning the World Cup, and it means that when we take the field next year as the Springboks, it'll be the first time since 2019 actually in the final. So it'll be quite depressing and upsetting the fact that the Springboks won't be playing any rugby this year. But one can understand why they've taken if they have taken the decision, why they have taken the decision. Head coach Jacques Nienaber said that he would not be happy about going over and playing the Rugby Championship unless the players had about 400 to 500 minutes under their belt. And now we've had, the Super Rugby Showdown, so the Springbok Showdown, the Super Fan Saturday, as well as last weekend. If a single player has played every single one of those games, they will have only amassed about 240 minutes. So still about half of what they really want to before they play. And at this stage, the Springboks are scheduled to play their first test on the 7th of November. So not a lot of time, not a lot of rugby that can still be played ahead of that. So there was also some rumors about potentially playing a reduced sort of format and going over and playing just 3 test matches. Which means we could go over a little bit later and try and get some more rugby under our belt, which I think they could push for. I think at the end of the day, you almost need to scrap the Rugby Championship as a competition. Just scrap a trophy at the end of the day and consider it a tour. Like a cricket has bilateral series or unilateral series. Go over and have a unilateral series where you play every single nation once, and you can just create a little bit of a log and you can have a final thing. But let South Africa play for the entire October and the first 2 weeks of November, and play, second, third, and last week, the last 2 weeks of November, and maybe first week of December. So if you can get the Springboks, they can continue playing on the sort of 7th, and the 14th of November, that's the final match, and then they announce the squad, and you can play your first sort of test on the 21st of November, 28th of November, first week of December, or even longer than that. Play your first test on the 28th of November and the first 2 weeks of December. You need to think of it out the box. And I think, well, out the box, I suppose. But I think, instead of just calling it off now, I think you need to be a bit more proactive. And I can understand the whole sort of don't go over there and embarrass themselves. You can't, test rugby is sacred and you can't just do it. But I do think it is quite important that in a year where we've had so much negativity, it would be really nice to watch the Springboks play. And that's why I think they need to get a bit more creative. Scrap the Rugby Championship. Stop trying to put names on things. Stop trying to be so regiment, and just say that we're going to have a unilateral series that is going to start in the last week of November. I don't understand what the rush is. We're going to be playing rugby throughout December, January. That's how our domestic competition is going to happen. And I think there's no reason why the other nations couldn't come to the ball, and that means that South Africa could have another month of internal rugby, and then you've got 6-7 weeks of rugby under your belt, and now you can go and say, right, now we can create a Springbok side, send it over, and they can still be competitive. They still be fit up and ready to take on and then it wouldn't be such a farce or whatever. But I think there's no reason why you can't be a bit more proactive. So the decision will be announced tomorrow, and as a result, it is expected that the Rugby Championship at SANZAAR will reduce the tournament from 12 to 6 tests, and there'll be bye weekends and stuff like that, because there'll only be 3 teams playing. So yeah, I think it's interesting. I can understand why the decision's been made, if it has been made, and I just think that they need to be a bit more creative. I think it's been such a difficult year that we can't be so stuck on, we have to play this, we have to do this. Play a unilateral series. Play a 3-week unilateral series in 4 week. They can start a week early. Just a couple, and you get to play. Everybody plays each other once. A final log. You can go and buy a little trophy from the local store. A 6-pack of beer, and everybody's happy. So I think it's frustrating that they're so regimented that they're not willing to try and do something a bit different, to try and make a plan and try and sort of get around those obstacles. But that is the reality at this stage. Look, I suppose there's an argument that Argentina, Australia, and New Zealand will only wait so long for the Springboks, so I can understand that sort of point of view. But yeah, it will just be a bit frustrating and a bit upsetting that we just don't get to watch the Springboks at all this year, which would have been really nice. And especially with what's going to happen with Sevens and stuff like that. We really missed rugby. It's good to have it back, but nothing's quite the same as watching the Springboks. So we'll have to wait and see. A decision will be made tomorrow, so we'll make sure that we keep you up to date on whatever that decision is. Please make sure you subscribe to the video, smash the like if you enjoyed this type of content. Let me know in the comments what you think should happen, what you think the Springboks should do, and whether they should actually try and get a game in, or whether they just cut ties and we just focus everything on the Lions tour next year. Please let me know in the comments. As always, thank you very much for watching. I'll chat to you soon, and obviously previews coming about Super Rugby Unlocked this weekend. Some very interesting matchups. Stormers are entering the competition in, so we have to wait and see what happens there. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll chat to you very soon.